Hi guys, welcome to our bonus book club chat. Our very first point crime, Baa Baa Dead Sheep. Hope you like my impression of a sheep. Right, I'm just going to add everyone in. 1 second. If you missed it, I did a very good impression of a sheep. Hi Emma. Ooh.
Hello. Oh, spooky corridor again.
I love
Hey.
seeing your spooky corridor. Are you all right?
Yeah, we can see.
Yay! I was going to ask, can you see me? All right, I just add Sharron in. 1 second. I can't believe this is the first time we're chatting about books, Emma.
I know, it's mad. I don't know how we missed out on doing
How have
that.
we never done this before?
No
It's crazy. Hi,
idea.
Sharron. Hello. You're
Hello.
right.
Oh, just
I was,
turn my
I,
volume up.
I was just saying to Emma that it's the first time me and Emma have chatted about a book. We always chat about movies, and we've realised we've never chatted about a book before.
No.
So
Oh, hang on.
crazy!
Well, I've lost my glasses, so we'll
Oh,
see how that
Oh,
goes.
oh. Well, this poor Melina's not feeling very well, so she's not able to join us. So get better soon, Melina. We miss you.
get
Big
well
hug.
soon.
Hug. So yeah, get well
Bye.
soon, Melina. But yeah, we're going to be chatting about Baa Baa Dead Sheep, which Emma suggested for a bonus read, didn't you, Emma? Because of the
Yeah,
title, I think, wasn't
It's
it?
brilliant.
it's hilarious.
Such a great title. Like, how do
Yeah.
they think of these things? Like, amazing. Loved it. But yeah, so this was our first point crime for the bonus book club, and I have to say, I was mildly impressed. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
different to what I thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that. But yeah, so we've got the brilliant Emma with us and the brilliant Sharron, the bonus book club babes. That's what we're calling ourselves.
I
Well,
like it.
yeah, that's what Sharron, you came up with that, I think, and it kind of stuck.
Bonus book clubs, babe, assemble.
Woohoo! Oh dear. So yeah, so point crime books apparently. I mean, they were all around in the 90s, around the same time as point horror, like 93, I think they started. Um, and apparently, I was looking how many there was, and there was 53 books in the series. So they must have
Oh,
been pretty popular.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, I presume they're all meant to be set in the UK setting, I'm guessing. Because I'm guessing this was a UK setting. Yeah, it must have
Yeah,
been,
it
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they went for like a UK market there, but I do know some of them were released in America. So I'm wondering whether some of them have got are set in America as well. So it'll be interesting if we read more to find that out, really.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kelly's put, I read this one
Me too.
today. Yay!
I finished it at 4 o'clock.
Oh, I
Oh,
have to admit, I only just finished it at like 5 o'clock. I got very behind,
I
which is very unusual
finished
for
it
me.
this morning.
Well done, Emma.
Hooray! Yay
All
us.
today.
Oh dear. Oh, Kirsty said I spotted lose, so I think that was in the a word in the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and Teddy's put, I've never known so many characters introduced so fast. Yeah,
There's
we're definitely.
22.
Yeah.
There's
Wow!
22 characters in this book.
I knew there was a lot, but I
22.
didn't.
And yeah.
22. No wonder I was getting a bit
Wow.
confused at the beginning. I mean, I jotted a few of them down, but definitely
Same.
not all 22.
No.
Crackers.
Oh, right. So this one, obviously, it's set at the Tree Theatre, and a new production is underway. But unknown to the cast and crew, a real life crime has been committed.
Yep.
George Lamb has been found murdered. Not really a loss, but still
No.
murdered. So Beth discovers the body, and she finds herself drawn into a series of dangerous and terrifying events. And is there anyone that she can trust in those 22 characters? We don't know. So this one was published in 1993, and yeah, I don't think it dated badly, to be honest. I think it was not too bad. A few bits.
Holds up.
Yeah, holds up well. So obviously going into the book, I thought, oh, it's just going to be some like cozy crime thing, and it was a lot darker than what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So thinking of cozy crime, are you a fan normally of like cozy crime, Emma?
No. So I don't read cozy crime at all. I know there's a market for it, obviously, because I work in a bookshop. We sell a lot of it. And I know some great cozy crime writers. I've read some of their work, obviously, just to, support and see what they've written. But no, for me, cozy crime is no. I like that it was so dark.
Yeah, it went to a place I didn't think it was going to go.
A few places. I was like, what?
Oh, I just saw Kelly said this one was in Devon. Oh,
yes, it was.
I tried to look up the place and I got a really weird thing come up, and I was like, oh, it must be fictional, but it's actually a real place.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I think the place might be. I think Tolford might be fictional. Yeah, but Devon. It's in Devon. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I've not heard of Tolford. Should have looked that up. Yeah.
Every time I typed it in Google to see if it was a real place, it kept coming up with Telford.
No, my parents used to live in Devon. Yeah, so I'd never seen it on the map. Oh, you're in Devon. There you go.
Sharon's in
there
Devon.
You go.
Oh, love
but
that.
not one, is it, Sharon?
So do you read much? I know you read a lot of horror, Sharon, but do you read any cozy crime normally?
Yeah, Telford's more cows in it than sheep.
Yeah.
I do. I love cozy crime, but I tend to watch it more than read it.
Yeah.
I quite like it as a guilty pleasure to watch. And this was like, Beth was like a poor woman's Jessica Fletcher, wasn't she, really?
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? There's kind of like Amdram Murder, She Wrote,
Yeah.
So I do love it. I love the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of my guilty. I absolutely love that, just because Joyce is such a psychopath and everybody thinks she's a nice one. And but yeah, I love to watch it. I love watching like Midsummer Murders. And actually, most cozy crime, the murders are actually horrible.
Yeah.
It's just that feeling it gives you of being kind of comforting.
Yeah.
It's
weird, isn't it? Yeah, like comforted in like a murderous way.
Like Miss Marple, isn't it? Miss Marple's kind of cozy crime to me, but the actual murders are very complicated and horrific.
Yeah.
But she's kind of she just gives you that kind of comforting feeling.
Yeah. I know years ago I read, and I think they are from the 90s, or the start of the series was. I think they're called the Aurora Tea Garden Mysteries by Charlene Harris. So obviously we know her for like True Blood, but she did this like set of cozy crime, and they are like chef's kiss brilliant. And like even the titles, there's like one called like Bone to Pick and stuff, and it's got like a picture of a skeleton on the front and stuff. They were really, really good. Yeah, they were brilliant. Yeah, I love a fun pun as well, definitely. Matthew said I finished it this morning too. I think we all finished about the same time. Yeah, time has escaped me. It's
fresh
month.
then, isn't it?
Fresh in the mind. Matthew said cozy mysteries are a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah, it's funny how it's such a guilty pleasure, isn't it? Speedway Chick said I assumed at the beginning it was in the Midlands, but then thought it was Dorset.
It could have been. It might have been Dorset. Yeah.
Definitely
well, that's on the way, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't pick that up. I was just like hung on the Tolford bit, I think.
It's mentioned. Somebody says it's mentioned once. It does get mentioned once, but I couldn't tell you where it is.
Yeah, Kelly says it gets mentioned once.
Yeah, Kelly.
Oh, well done, Super Sleuths. Hats off to you. Matthew said Beth was a lot more cranky than Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't she?
Oh, so what did you think of Beth as a main character? I quite liked Beth. I warmed to her quite a lot, especially towards the end. How about you, Sharon?
I quite liked her really, but I thought she was very quick to blame her friends, wasn't she? She was very quick to get paranoid and
Yeah.
kind of a little bit, oh, it could be any of them. I could be talking to murderers. And she was a little bit, I felt she was a little bit kind of, a bit of a control freak, a little bit. But I quite
Yeah.
liked her, actually. And I loved her relationship with her mum. I thought that was really
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
And she's obviously like, has lots of people in her life, obviously.
22 characters.
Yeah, and I did. Can you believe it? I always
I
count the characters. It's an
love that. I'm
obsession.
so glad that you did
And
that.
but yeah, and I love that kind of blossoming romance with the policeman, which we'll get onto, I'm sure. But I just thought that was really
yeah.
cute. I just thought it was
Yeah.
really. I'm like, how old is this girl? I had to go back, do you know? So I'm like, he's a policeman. I know he's a young
17,
policeman,
yeah.
but is she a teenager? No, doesn't tell you how old they are, does it?
No. I think at one point, when she's talking to someone, she mentions that I got the gist that they're around 16, 17.
17,
Yeah,
yeah.
They're like at
for some
college
reason.
age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah, just because she'd mentioned something about 4 years prior, and then I thought, oh, okay. So 4 years prior, she was 13 or something. So then I kind of
Yeah.
just thought, oh, okay, that's the age. But yeah, I quite liked her.
I thought
How
she was
about
good.
you, Emma? Did you like her?
Nope.
Ah!
I did not
Oh,
like
tell us
Beth at all.
more.
So sorry, guys.
Oh, how
Beth
come?
was Beth did not know
Yeah.
herself. She had no sense of self. So she was saying, "Oh, it's lucky I'm not the jealous type," and then she was jealous of absolutely every
Everybody.
girl.
She
Joe,
was.
Fiona, Cheryl. She just absolutely. Why are the boys paying attention to them and not to me? Like constant. I was like, "Oh my God, Beth."
Yeah.
She was so judgy as well. Like, I think she's called Fiona, her best friend, a stupid cow at one point. And I was like, my God. Then
Oh,
she told the coffee shop owner to shut up. I was like, Beth, jeez Louise.
mind you,
I could
didn't
not believe it.
the coffee shop owner did inappropriately like touch her cheek? I thought I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah. They were all a
weird.
bit creepy, the older guys. I was like, and then she said about the police officer, oh, well, he's ugly, but he kind of is nice to me. So that's better than having the hot guy who's not nice to me. And I was like, he's not ugly. I love gingers. My husband's ginger. He's gorgeous. So yeah, I thought Beth was a bit miserable, and some of the things she said about her friends. To be fair, they were quite horrible to her too. I thought, oh mate, you wouldn't be my bestie.
Yeah. They were all like pretty. They were all pretty horrible to each other, to be honest. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the way I kind of took Beth a little bit was like I felt like it was that teenage, when like you think someone fancies you and then you're not
yeah.
sure, but then you project onto others, and then like there was like that teen kind of like unsurety about her, but maybe it was just cockiness.
I think she
I
she
don't know.
didn't she
I
didn't
felt
want
she was
them.
insecure. Yeah,
Yeah.
She
she was
didn't want them,
insecure.
but she didn't want anybody else to have them. So she didn't
Yeah,
really
that's
fancy
it.
Toby, right? She didn't really fancy Toby because he'd been her friends for years, but she didn't want anyone else to get close to him. It was
Bingo.
almost like a
Yeah. Yeah.
possessiveness she had. That these are my friends and nobody else, and she didn't like her friends interacting,
Yeah.
which is really weird.
Yeah. There was one time, I think let me just check, because I did take a picture of it because it made me howl, where she goes, here we go. I think she's talking about Cheryl. So obviously she's jealous of Cheryl
Because she's
because Cheryl's
pretty.
developing, she's very pretty and she's developing a relationship with Toby. And then she says to someone, personally, I'd like to stick pins all over her, the little drama-seeking troublemaker.
Yes.
I was like,
I was like,
whoa,
it's a bit harsh.
She was a bit,
the
to be
drama.
fair, which is why I liked her.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
but I
brilliant.
also like the way as well that she was quite relentless, like especially to the boys when she was like, no, you tell me what you're keeping a secret from me. She was quite pushy in that way, like bossy. But do you
Yeah.
think that was because she was really intrigued on solving the mystery, or she just felt left out of the conversation? What do you think,
Maybe,
Emma?
maybe a bit of both. I think she really wanted to get to the bottom of it. She was definitely, she definitely wanted to find out what was going on.
Yeah.
I was a bit shocked that they weren't more terrified about the whole thing, knowing there was a killer amongst
Yeah.
themselves. I was like, they don't seem very terrified. They just seem to want to know who was
Yeah.
it. So yeah, a bit of both, I think, with Beth. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Sharron? What did you think? Do you think she just wanted to like just be in on all the action?
I think she's one of those. She's got like a type A personality, isn't she? So she has to be involved in everything. So do you know what I mean? So I think she kind of, because she found the body, she felt like she's got to be the one to solve it. I think that's just the way her personality is. I
Yeah.
think if anybody else had found it, she would still have thought that she was the one who's got to solve it, instead of just going to the police like a sensible person. Do you know what I mean?
That's so true. Matthew said I wanted more of the ginger constable.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
I really wanted, like, he wasn't in it enough for me. In fact, the police didn't really investigate very well, did they?
They were pretty rubbish.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they took everything off the wall except the planner, which I'm just like, what?
But they're not moving
All
to
right.
check it, you know?
The little planner with the hidey hole behind it. Oh,
And she's talking about a scrapbook. She's saying it was a scrapbook. It must have been a bloody big hole, hadn't it?
Yeah.
Get a scrapbook in. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought, is she talking about a scrapbook when she's looking through it?
Yeah.
Scrapbooks are,
Yeah, I wondered if it was rolled up.
or maybe
Rolled up
Oh,
and
and then
stuffed
yeah,
in, maybe.
put in.
dig
Yeah.
walls.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, still have to, yeah. Either
That
way.
whole scene, though, like, we'll get on to talking about Mr. Lamb
Ugh.
soon, but that whole,
What?
oh no, we've got to get it out of the way. But that whole scene where where she finds that hole, right, before we know what's in it, my mind went in a very dark
Me too.
place. Because obviously, right, because I was like, I had to put the book down a second, because I was like, wait, we've just been told his boiler room, like, you know, like Freddy Krueger,
Yeah, Freddy.
is down in the boiler room. Like, he's like covered in like pornography or whatever it was,
Yeah.
spread around. And then she starts talking about finding this hole in the wall, and I was like, wait, what is gonna happen? And I thought, no, it's just stop thinking these things, Shelley.
Yeah, with masking tape over it as well. Like he put masking tape over it. Bizarre.
Weird. Very weird.
How did that stick to the plaster even? I don't think so.
Oh,
They don't think about the stickability of things in points, do they?
No.
No.
Oh, but I thought that, the young policeman, I feel he was severely underused in this,
agree.
and we needed more of him, because I actually liked him as a character.
Yeah.
He was so sweet. Like, why couldn't he have, I know I'm jumping to the end, but why couldn't he have rescued her at the end? That's what I wanted.
Me too.
Didn't want Toby.
I used
Toby.
to have a dog called Toby. Every time I hear that, I think of dogs.
Oh.
Oh dear, yes. I wanted young policeman to rescue her at the end. Yeah. Kelly said, I think Beth is 17. It mentioned her being 14 and 3 years before, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured she was like a pre-18-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, I presume because she was under that age bracket, that's why they were called saps in this theatre setting, because they were the young ones of the theatre. Saplings.
I like that. I like that.
Did you like that? I wasn't sure about sap, because it just made me think of like, oh, you poor sap, you know, like I kept thinking that all the time.
The connection to the tree. So the tree
Yeah,
and the saplings. I just thought it was really sweet.
I thought maybe acorns would have been like, because you grow into a big oak, like little acorn nurtured into a.
I was thinking
I thought
smaller kids, I think, perhaps. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, oh, maybe. Yeah. Might be right there.
Do you know what I think the irony of it was? So obviously, it's called the Tree Theatre. We've got the saplings, and the person who has or runs the theatre or has upgraded the theatre is obviously Rob, which I think is Toby's dad, was it? And obviously, I think his name was Rob. Too many characters.
Rob's the assistant producer.
Rob's the stage manager.
Rob's
assistant
the assistant producer.
What was the
So
Any
it's
dad's name?
Mr. Harris. I
Harris.
never mention his
Okay,
name.
Yeah.
Mr.
Mr. Harris.
Harris. So the irony is he owns this theatre or whatever, and his wife died by them hitting a tree.
I know.
And I thought, is that like meant to be funny? Because that sounds awful, but I was like, what are the chances? did he own the theatre then, or did he buy the theatre? Because
Or
you know.
did he name it after the tree that killed his
Yeah,
wife?
Which is
I
weird.
needed a little bit more context there.
Yeah, that is weird.
Oh dear. So talking about all the characters then, so clearly I'm just confused with names. So
Not surprising.
yeah, at the start, I have to admit I struggled with the book at the beginning because there was just so many characters being thrown at me. I just couldn't, my little brain couldn't keep up. So do you think it worked with all the characters or not, Emma?
I liked it. I do. Once you get a grip on who's
Yeah.
who, I liked that there was a massive cast because then it gave you the opportunity to try and guess who it was out of this cast. Obviously, you've got your primary people, your primary characters, and then you've got your wider group. But there would be that many characters in a theatre group. So I liked that there was a coffee shop owner, that we were seeing the whole town, the police officer. We were seeing that he used to be a staff. That it was all kind of the community, which I quite liked. Although, like yourself, I was writing them all down because I was like, hang on, Rob does this. What does that one do? Oh, that's Tracy. Hang on, who's Tracy again? Oh, where's Steve? You know, I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, I was kind of trying to keep up. But by the time I got midway, I had a good idea of who was around her, who was her inner circle and who was the out circle, which was quite cool.
I agree with that. As soon as I got to about the halfway mark, I was like, right, yeah, I know what's going on. Well, I thought I did until I got the dad's name wrong, but I know who's who. I know what's going on now, and it's kind of clicked with me about the halfway mark. How about you, Sharron? It's quite brave to have so many characters, I think. Do you?
It is a lot, especially when you consider these books are targeted teenagers who don't have the best, attention span, do they? I read the halfway.
Like me.
I read the halfway to the book, and then I went back and wrote the characters down. So once I knew that, because by then I'd figured out who was the core characters and who were the outside characters, and then you kind of who's who, and usually by what they do. Do you know, we in the theatre, and I love the theatrical setting. I was on the stage for a long time, and it was so well done. Do you know, that was the best part of the book for me. I've got to be honest; it was so nostalgic for me that. But there was a lot of characters, but I think they all had their time and they weren't overused. So the ones that were important were used a lot, and the other ones came in and kind of went out. Like, scene left. You know what I mean? So I thought it was I thought it was really well plotted out. There was no kind of pause in it. The story kind of flowed really well to the end.
Yeah, it did, and you could tell the characters apart, even though there were so many. None of them seemed similar to each other to me. I could distinguish them quite easy once I got my head around it. But it's a very brave decision to put that many in, definitely.
Need some skill to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think by the end, I think it paid off, definitely. Tell us more, Sharron, about your theatre exploits.
Yeah, so I used to be a singer and a dancer and bits of entertainer, really. So I spent a lot of time on the stage. So it is set up it is very much an Amdram production. But the way it works is like any theatre, whether it's on the West End or whether it's in a little town in Dorset or Devon. Do you know what I mean? The scenery, the way it works, the excitement when you're doing the first night, the final rehearsal. It was just done so well. That it really made me feel very nostalgic. And she'd obviously either been in a theatre herself or she'd really well researched it.
I think you researched it. Do you want to know why?
The galley part with the lights, with everything, it was really well done, and it's exactly like it is in a theatre. The way the boards are moved, and so it was really, really well done. And yet, dressing rooms are pokey. They're basically glorified cupboards.
Oh,
when they were lucky, they had a window.
Yeah.
I often didn't see daylight.
And why do you think she'd researched it, Emma?
Because she got some very key point wrong. So I
Oh.
also grew up in theatre, like Sharron. I was a dancer and I did a little bit of acting. I can't sing. I don't have that third string to my bow like you do. But I grew up on stage and I did a lot of professional shows as well as amateur ones and all sorts. And the dressing rooms are pokey, you know, and especially if you're under the stage, it's dark, there's no windows, you're right. But what they did at the end was when they were going on to perform in the rehearsal, they said good luck to each other and you
No,
just
you
don't do
never
it.
do that.
What do you say? What
Oh,
do you say? Break a
yeah.
Break a
leg.
Break a leg.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, ow! You got everything really well done up until that point. I was like, who didn't tell you?
And it's funny,
Yeah.
like when and she got to the point where somebody mentioned the Scottish play,
Yeah.
and everybody went, "Oh no, you can't do that." And you're like, "No, most people wouldn't know that,
Yeah.
right?"
No.
But
Yeah.
and then she got something so fundamentally wrong at the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of forgave her because so much of it was right.
And did you think of Blackadder when you heard that? Look,
Oh,
Beth,
yeah.
don't say it!
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then they're like,
Oh.
doing the clappy dance to try and get away the curse.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's such a
yeah.
classic. Oh,
It
I love
is.
that.
It
I'm
is. Yeah.
gonna have to rewatch that now. Oh dear. When I was at school, well, when I was in the sixth form, I got cast. Well, long story short, I went to support my friend. They were doing a production of Joseph and his amazing
Oh,
Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I went to support my friend because she wanted to audition. So she didn't want to go on her own. So I was like, oh, I'll come with you and support you and that. Anyway, cut forward, I ended up getting the lead role as the narrator. Right.
wow.
Yeah, so I only went to support her and then I kept getting called back to these like auditions because we had to go through these audition process and I ended up getting the lead role. And anyway, it was such a fun experience, and I was able to put it towards like my music A
Credits to
level
it. Yeah.
credit, yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff like that in the end. So it had a double purpose. But oh, it was so much fun, and like the nerves of like the first night and things like that. I mean, I know it's different being on a school stage. You didn't have all like the rigs and things like that. But I always remember like everything going wrong on the first night. Like, you know, when they did in the book the rehearsal and everything went wrong. Well, on the first night, there's a scene where I had to pull this like goat onto the stage, not a real
Oh,
goat, like
Oh,
something.
that's
This
good.
goat,
gosh.
this goat on
No.
the. You're
It's
very
not a sheep.
terrified. This goat on wheels. It was like on a wheels thing. But as I walked up to it in the side wings, I must have pulled on the head, and the head came off, and I ended up having to go on stage carrying the head of this goat whilst I was singing.
You basically killed the goat.
I
Yeah.
did. But like, and then I always remember going in the wings, and the teacher was like, "What was that?" And I was like, "The head came off the goat." So in the end, I think they
Oh,
tied it
Shelley.
on, or they did something for the next 2 nights that we was doing it, and I was able to pull the goat successfully round with me whilst I was singing on the stage. But I'll never forget it. Oh, it's
All the
And
kids
the
in the
funny.
fact you
front
carried
row
on.
were like,
I know.
Mummy!
You carried on. No. You see, that's what it's all about. You
That's
carried
it.
on even though you were only carrying the head.
The
You
Yeah.
carried on,
show
love.
must go on.
I
Like
mean, the
a
thing
weird
is,
farmer version of Hamlet.
it was so weird. And like, I just remember, I don't even remember how I carried on singing as I was carrying this head without laughing. Because if you know Joseph, the narrator, literally,
Yeah.
it flows because of the narrator. And like, so I couldn't stop. I just had to carry on. But I will never forget it ever. It was just hilarious. And also the boy who was playing Joseph, like everyone fancied in the whole school, everyone. And then I always remember the teacher in rehearsal saying, right, at the end, I think you should just like give each other a little kiss. And I was like, no. And like now I'm like, why did I say no?
Oh,
Oh,
Shelley, you missed an opportunity there.
I know, but I was mortified. I was like, I can't kiss the hot boy in front of everyone. I'm just like a geeky girl who's got this role by accident. Like, anyway,
Oh, that's
but yeah, I'll
brilliant.
never forget that. just, never forget it as long as I live, honestly.
Like a fame moment, that, isn't it? You know, and in Fame, when he only goes to rehearse with his friend and he gets the place. So it's like a Fame moment.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, it didn't go down too well with my friend, but I thought, well,
Did she not get in at all?
she got in like the chorus, like part.
Oh no, Shelley!
I know.
She was
But
in the ensemble.
Yeah, that's it, the ensemble. Like, and the thing is
Oh.
though, like when my music teacher turned around and said, "Look, because I wasn't going to do it," and then like, because I felt bad, and then they were like, "Yeah, but you know, this will go towards your credit for your A level and that." I thought, well, I'd be stupid, so I just did it.
Absolutely.
And had fun. It was fun.
Yeah. It's always hard when your mates don't get through, because I got an audition as well and 2 of my friends didn't get in, and I was gutted because I thought I'd be doing it with them. So I thought, oh yeah, we're all going to get in, it'll be fine. And then when I got a big envelope and they only got a small envelope through the post, I was like, that's a contract, isn't it? And they were like, and I had to go on my own, and I was like, oh no, I want to go with my friends. So yeah, it's always hard. Yeah.
But I always remember my the teacher who auditioned us, and she was like, who have you had singing lessons with to me? And I'm like, I haven't had, I just sing in my bedroom, you know, on my guitar, and that's
with your
it.
hairbrush.
So I was like, oh yeah. And they were like, no way. And I was like, well, yeah.
Do you still sing? Do you still sing, Shelley? Because you and Sharron could do a duet.
Yeah, I can. I think I can still hold a note. You know, I do Shelley karaoke in the car. So, but not
in the shower these days.
Oh yeah, in the shower. That's good. Speed Ray Chick said, not a fan of Beth. She didn't have a good group of friends. Maybe the police officer will help her mellow. Yeah, maybe. Susan said, friends like that, you don't need enemies.
True.
Yeah,
that's sister.
Oh, hi, Sharon's sister. Matthew said, the way she could be, there were a couple of times I wondered if Beth was actually the murderer. Yes. I thought exactly the same. I was like, is this going to be like, am I going to be hoodwinked and it's actually Beth?
Yeah, is she just bonkers?
Yeah. Speed Rating says, I'm normally rubbish at working out who'd done it, but I got this one early on. I thought the author made it really obvious when we were looking at the other characters so hard. So did we all guess who it was going to be?
Yeah.
Even I did. I was like, oh,
go Shelley.
I know, it makes a change. It was. Do you think it was obvious? Did the author not give enough red herrings? Do you think, Sharron?
No, I think it was really well done. I think we've just all read a lot of whodunits, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I think you kind of you can pick it up. I think perhaps if you were a younger person reading this and it was your first thriller, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
it was quite obvious to me that it was an adult that had done it and not a child, because it was quite obvious that the kids wanted to just humiliate him. They didn't want to kill him. They wanted to humiliate him.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty obvious, really. Although he was a creep, and it was the best thing anyone did, really, in the book, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh, did you guess who it was? Did you say, Emma?
Yeah, I did. I guessed at about just before the halfway mark, because we got. I got my suspicion, and then just about a page 120, I think we got some backstory, and I was like, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, you, Paula.
And I kind of liked as well the fact, like, at the end, when we find out how she used to be married to this serial killer, and like the whole backstory of her was like really good. Extreme. It was really good. And I was like, oh, I'd read a whole book on that. Like, I'd want more of her now.
I understand why she did it, because she didn't want to lose the life she'd got.
Yeah.
And, she'd finally, got away from that label of wife of a serial killer.
Yeah.
And that man was disgusting. And so, I could kind of, I'm justifying murder, by the way, but you could kind of understand why she felt like she had no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad for her because I thought, why does she feel like she needs to do that? She didn't do it, you know. And I suppose people might have been saying, didn't you see the signs? You must have seen something. And, you know, that might have just worn her down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
maybe.
So we've mentioned Mr. Lamb.
Ah,
Mm.
So I know the whole point was we was meant to not like him
yeah.
and we didn't like him, but was there a different way that it could have been done? Like it was really inappropriate, wasn't he? Like, how did no one know that this? I don't know. It was just really inappropriate. So, what do you think? Do you think it could have been done in a different way, or was it done in the right way that we hated him enough to not care? Sharron, what do you think?
I think that they were scared of him because he'd been put in place by Toby's dad, and they felt like if they told anybody, no one would believe them. But the fact that
Yeah,
and a lot of them kept a lot of it secret, didn't they? You know, that's how
yeah,
abusers work, of course, isn't it?
mm,
I think if they'd have all talked to each other
yeah,
about these things that were going on, then they could have all gone as a mass and said, actually, this is what's happening.
mm,
Um, I think he was vile. I mean, and
yeah.
even the physical, you know, he got greasy hair and he was
Oh,
in overalls and a dirty t-shirt and he was
mm,
just, do you know, he was a grotesque man before you realised he was actually also a bit of a perv.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and then, you know, when he kind of ties to that, like you said before, being in a boiler room, that kind of Freddy kind of
yeah,
vibe to it.
yeah,
And he was just disgusting. But
yeah.
yes, I think he didn't have any, I had no sympathy for him for
Mm-mm.
years. I didn't care, and I'm not sure whether that is a bad thing or not.
Mm.
Because I
Because
didn't really care if they found out who killed him because I thought he deserved it.
yeah, that's how I felt. Because I was a bit like when we found out the reveal, I was a bit like, well, good, you know, she got rid of
A
a
really
bad one.
nasty man, yeah.
Yeah, kind of thing. And yeah, so I was like, I don't mind who's killed him because they've done a good thing.
Yeah.
How about you, Emma?
Yeah, I agree with all those points. Yeah, it's kind of hard because yeah, you want an emotion to be pulled out of you, but you don't really expect too much from a point crime or a point horror, you know,
Yeah.
because it's just going along for the ride, isn't it? It's just going along for the
Good.
fun, so you don't expect it to have an emotional tug.
Mm,
But it would have been good if we had cared who'd done it, or we
mm,
had cared which one of them was a killer. Because really, at that point, I was just hoping it wasn't Sam or Fiona,
yeah,
because I liked both of those.
I love Fiona.
Yeah, so I was
yeah,
just like, and you know, yeah, and the police officer used to be a sap, so that didn't really tie in with anything at all. And I was hoping that maybe he
Yeah.
would have some sort of a
mm,
tie-in with this grotesque caretaker
mm,
that maybe brought him into the mix a little bit as well, or put a
yeah,
question mark over his head. So
Yeah.
yeah, he was absolutely foul, and he was like, he kissed
Joe,
Joe, was it, or groped Joe?
Joe,
And he said
yeah,
to Beth, you should wear more outfits like your sexy friend. And I was just like going,
Yeah.
what the?
yeah,
And he had something on everyone, didn't he? So
yeah,
everyone was a suspect because he had something different on absolutely every one of them,
yeah,
which was gave him a lot of power.
Good.
mm,
I
yeah,
did love the fact that he was killed by a bucket of blood.
Yeah,
So I think
mm,
it kind of linked back to that kind of Carrie kind of idea of him being a
yeah,
pig. It wasn't
yeah,
pig's blood, but
yeah,
it was actually blood, you know. So
yeah,
it's just I really like that in my head, that link. Well, he's a pig, so that's why they've
mm,
yeah,
done that. Because this
yeah,
would have been after Carrie. Carrie would have been in the cinemas for years at this
yeah,
point.
yeah,
70s,
So
yeah,
I quite like that kind of
yeah,
little Easter egg there. I thought that's clever that.
yeah.
mm,
And
I
but
like
yeah, it was
that.
disgusting,
Yeah.
disgusting.
And then also as well, I like the fact that, or liked the thought of the fact that obviously the blood fell on him, the bucket hit him on
And
the
then
head,
the
and the
weight,
weight. I was like,
just to make
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
triple
bang, bang,
whammy,
bang.
get rid of him.
I was
Brilliant.
I like that.
horrified by his boiler room because I think Beth mentioned that the surfaces were sticky, and then all
Oh,
I could think of was all those horrible
oh,
pictures of his room. What the hell was on his
What is he
surfaces?
doing?
Oh, and she was going to drink some
yeah.
coffee out of cups in
Yes,
there. No,
she went and
Beth.
got the cups. Oh gosh, she went and got the
No, no,
cups
no.
out of there. Yeah,
Gross.
because
Freaky. It just gives you the ick, doesn't it? Completely.
Yeah,
So
it does.
Just
Yeah, great.
Oh, just horrible. But yeah, there were some things where I thought for a teen book it went, like, it implied quite a lot, like especially with Jo. Obviously she mentions about the kiss, but then I think Beth kind of says she
more
was
to it.
worried there was more to it.
Mm.
And then there was that whole thing, I think it was with Toby, where he says he went into the boiler room, and because that had happened, or we find that out after the Jo thing, I was thinking, oh, like, is that going to end up being a thing? Because it went into quite a dark
Yeah.
place with that.
Yeah.
But obviously that ended up being that he'd written poems to his effective stepmom, who ended up being the killer anyway.
Yeah.
So it did go darker than I didn't expect that for a book of, like, for a point crime, because we don't normally go that extreme in point horror.
Very
I mean,
No, and I was,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
yeah, I was glad that Paula and Toby did not have some sort of weird relationship. I was waiting for that. I was like, are they doing this together?
Yeah.
Have they had an inappropriate relationship? I was just like, oh no. And so I was glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, same. Speed Ray Chick was asking how old was the police officer.
He was 18, wasn't he?
18.
Wet behind the ears.
19, he was
quite
only young, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew said, I noticed that about the good look too, but I just wondered if people do say that in the UK.
Yeah.
I bristled at that because in the US we always say break a leg. It is always break a leg, yeah.
Always break a leg.
Susan says she got that bit wrong, but was a good book. About the break a leg thing, yeah, definitely. Speed Chick said, you've been holding out on us, Shelley. Is that to do with my theatrical goat disaster?
My theatrical goat disaster. That's a book title.
Oh dear. Matthew said, I wondered why he was ever put in a position to be around so many young people and be in charge.
Absolutely.
He obviously gave off predator vibes. Yeah. Because I think
But that was the 90s.
Yeah.
The 90s they did. You remember, you've all got a creepy teacher story or a creepy caretaker story.
Definitely, yeah. And like, even Paula says when she's having like a chat with Beth at some point, oh, he wasn't very well liked, was he? He wasn't a nice man. So they all knew he wasn't a nice man.
Trying to justify her actions.
That was in those days. People, that people knew about it, but they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Kelly said dirty photos on the walls and sticky surfaces. Yeah. And Matthew said, and cans of beer sitting around his office. Yeah.
Probably with cigarette butts in them.
Nasty, man. Nasty.
It can, but the thing is, in a kind of way, it did a good job of like I could picture walking in there and the smell.
Me too.
Like, it did give a good, like, you could imagine, like, it was pretty gross. Yeah, definitely. Kelly said not much more than kissing gets mentioned in point horror. Yeah, that's true. So that's why it quite surprised me a little bit with the point crime, because I was like, oh, it's gone to a place where I never thought it would go.
Got a bit of depth to it.
Yeah. So we mentioned about all the supporting characters. So did you have a favourite? Because we'd be here all night if we talk about them all. So did you have a favourite supporting character, Sharron?
Fiona was my favourite.
Oh,
she just made me laugh. I just thought she was like the comic relief. I just thought she was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, your aura's so bad. It was almost like, she was acting all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Overacting. I just thought she was brilliant.
Yeah.
I really did. And when Beth lost her temper at her, you can imagine her going, oh, what did I say? What did I say? You know what I mean? Like, she was clueless. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so she was absolutely my favourite. I also did like Jo, her best friend, just because she seemed like an incredible young woman. She got the whole costumes for a whole production on her own.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So, and I loved her family. I loved the kind of idea of her family, which was very kind of hippie, wasn't it? In the country, they were artists and a little brother called Bean.
Animals.
Lots of animals. Ruffles, the dog. I
Oh
always love a dog.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I did like her, but Fiona, every time she came on, she made me laugh.
Yeah, it's that scene when she's like reading the palm, isn't it? And like they're all like going, "Whoa!" I think it's Sam. I think says, "Oh, whoa, she's so cool!" Like she's reading the palms, and you know, come and
She's
have your
going to do a
palm read again.
seance.
Yeah, she's gonna do a
Oh,
seance.
sad she didn't.
I was so sad she didn't. Yes.
I know. I wish she did. That would have been so cool. Did you have a favourites? Was Fiona your favourite as well, Emma?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hands down, little Scottish fae. And I thought, my grandmother was Scottish, but I don't know much about Scotland. I've never been there. I'm hoping to go there soon. But
Yeah.
I thought that meant, you know, destined to die or doomed. Right. So I thought, why would they call themselves that? And then I realized it has a dual meaning and it does mean seeing to the future. So I was
Oh
like,
wow.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I loved her because but I tell you what she did do. She gave Sam, and Sam was my other
Yeah.
favourite.
Yes, I like Sam.
Sam is a working class boy that has no parents and lives in a tower block.
Yeah.
So I could immediately, you know, relate to him on that level of being working class. I could see why he was the joker of the group. And then, but Fiona gave him, and please, I don't know if I'm the only one who did this, but I reckon Shelley did it as well, but I'm just going to see. Gave him a thong with a crystal on it. I thought, that's what you did, didn't you? I thought she'd given him a G-string, and I thought, that is a bit forward, Fiona.
That's a bit inappropriate.
Yeah, what are you doing? And then it was round his neck.
Front or the back.
It's round his neck.
Over the back to stop demons getting in. So I was just like, what's that? And then it was round his neck, and I thought, why has he got his knickers round his neck? Then I realised it was a necklace.
And that's not an English. I mean, we don't call that a thong in England.
No.
So that was
No.
I don't even know where they call it a thong where anywhere in the world they do.
Yeah.
They don't in New Zealand, because I asked my husband what he thought. He said, is it a jandal, which is what they call a flip-flop in New Zealand. Because Australians, sorry, not Americans, Australians call them thongs, flip-flops. And so we call them flip-flops, and New Zealanders call them jandals. And so I was like, what do you think that is? He said, is it a jandal with the crystal on it? And I'm like, no, it was a necklace. He was like, what?
No, I thought it was knickers. Yeah, I thought it was.
I did. And at that point, I was at the point of the book where I thought, wow, we're open to anything here. So I was like, go for it.
Get Fiona to make everybody crystal knickers.
Oh dear. Oh, do you know what? I really loved Sam as a character because, like, one, for the comic relief, two, because like that's why I just did think it was like a thong.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that would be something
He'd
Sam
wear
would
it.
do. But then, but then I also liked that he did keep the confidentiality with Joe, because obviously Joe had opened up to Sam.
Yes.
So, and I thought that was just so sweet that he never, and in a way he kind of stuck up for it, because doesn't Mr. Lamb like pin him against the wall, or there's a flashback scene, and that's to do with that whole thing because he knew that he knew. And I thought, oh, that's quite sweet that he kept that. And then I also really loved the scene when Beth goes round to Toby's house, and then obviously the boys are there, but Sam's not there yet. And like you kind of get the implication that Sam's the kind of leader of the pack without being, it's not known that Sam's the leader, but they like, oh, get Sam on the phone, you know, he has to give the go ahead for us to tell this story kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I kind of like that. It's like subtle, but I like it.
And what does he call Beth? Bethykins. Does he call her Bethykins? Yeah.
And that's like me, like making little nicknames up for people. And I was like, oh, I really like Sam. I hope it's not Sam who's going to end up being the
But then, what did Beth call him? A lame duck when Fiona said she liked him. Beth, that is not BFF behaviour.
I don't think she was
not a lame duck.
She wasn't anybody's friend.
No, I don't think so.
that whole scene with her little frog mascot brooch.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Yeah.
Nostradamus.
Little Darcy frog. So cute.
See,
The frog.
her
Oh my
and
god.
Sam would have been good together, though.
Yeah, they
I,
would.
I would,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would agree
Chaotic
with
energy,
that.
though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Explosive, I reckon.
Oh, and the drama when she gets the little scratch down her cheek from the kids.
She's an actress, darling.
Oh. Oh dear. Kelly said we're more open to frisky teenagers in the UK, clearly. Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
saying
that's the
nothing.
vibe they were going for. Kelly said there was a great quote about Joe's family being like a tablecloth that brings everyone to the table or something like that. Yeah. I
yeah.
love Joe.
Nice.
I thought that was lovely.
Matthew says, go to Scotland, Emma. It's fantastic. Go at
Yes.
Yeah.
My
Hogmanay,
family,
Scottish New Year.
Oh,
my family's
yeah.
British too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't been to Scotland for years. Oh, group trip. I have to go.
Yeah. Let's do
It was so
it.
cool. Kelly said, well, he did have a camp wrist, so it would fit that he was given a thong too. Oh! Speedway Chick said, that was my first thought of thong. So it wasn't just
There you
us.
go. It wasn't just us.
Yeah, I didn't realise until he was wearing it
It's
around
like
his neck, and I was like,
leather. A
wait.
leather. I think I looked it up, and it's like a leather necklace.
Yeah.
They call it a thong. But I've never used that, and it's never been used in this country, as far as I know.
No.
I'd love to know what
No.
your Google search threw up when you looked that up, Sharron.
I always clear my history, Shelley. I've learned from that mistake.
Oh, Matthew said, and when his thong was sticking out of his cravat.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So funny.
Oh dear. So obviously we had another side of things, which kind of ties into Fiona, where there was like meant to be the ghost of, is it
Bella.
Belle? I think it was
Yeah.
Bella. Who was like, because we all like a theatre that's haunted and got a good ghost story. So would you like to have seen a bit of the supernatural element? We said we wanted the seance, so would you like to see more of that, Sharron?
Yeah, I would have. I would have liked to have seen a ghost, or even somebody pretending to be a ghost, like Scooby Doo. I'd have quite liked that if somebody had dressed up as Bella and done it. I think that would have been fun. But what was the name of that perfume? It has a really stupid name.
Oh yeah,
Bendelicious or something like that.
Stephanotis.
What a stupid name for a perfume.
Apparently it is a flower.
Yeah,
apparently,
they kept smelling it, didn't they? So that kind of, so they were trying. Whoever was doing, well, I'm assuming Paula was doing that, trying to indicate that it was the ghost.
Yeah,
but I don't know, because it was a thriller, and I think thrillers sometimes don't tend to have a supernatural part to them.
No, I just think that the author was trying to go, like you say, like set up that it was like a ghost vibe, or that Paula was trying to set that up, but I don't think that kind of paid off.
And I think this book's too short. Do you know? I think if you had a longer novel, you could probably have played on that a little bit.
Yeah.
With another murder, maybe they're incorporated that, but because they're page restricted, it didn't really work. I don't think.
Maybe they should have like ended the book as like just like one last line, like the ghost of Bella watched on, or something like that, just to give it a little bit of.
You're such a
context.
romantic, you are, right? Yeah.
Oh, how about you, Emma? Did you like the ghost element, or was it underused?
I agree with Sharon. I think that it didn't need to be there at all. I think you could just pluck it out and it wouldn't need to be there at all. I know that I know what you're saying about haunted house, because obviously Beth started freaking out when she was there on her own, because she could hear tapping, or she was starting to really freak out. So the ghost element would have helped with that, but as a plot strand, it didn't really need to be there. Not really.
It could have been just creepy. I mean, like theatre, like anywhere that's kind of cavernous is creepy at night. Schools are creepy at night, and they didn't really need it. But
it's like
you just said this place is supposedly haunted, and that's why they're freaky, and they didn't have to go into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like planting that perfume around everywhere. There didn't seem to be much. I don't know what the point of that was. Like, I don't understand what the point of
I
that
thought she was trying to put the blame on Joe because Joe wore it. Was it
Oh,
Joe who wore it?
Joe
Yeah, it
wore
No,
was
I
it.
Joe.
thought
Yeah,
perhaps she was trying to
yeah.
deflect to her.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, Kelly's put
Yeah.
the ghost element rang true of a point horror. Yeah, because if I think of
Yeah.
Nightmare Hall's Scream Team, which we read last year, that had like a ghost element to it, and it did have that element at the end of, oh, the ghost did this. Like, so it put that reality of the ghost being there
Yeah.
in
What
it.
do you think sets it apart? What do you think sets it apart, the point crime to the point horror? Because I didn't feel there was that much, apart from the US versions, it's mostly sunny with a few rainy days. In the UK version, it's raining all the time and only one sunny day, which is about right.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
What makes it, was it the police procedurals that jumped it to point crime? Is that the difference? Because honestly, there's a lot of murders in the point horror that are very similar to this thriller. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
See,
just
I was reading
trying to work it out.
and I was thinking, so obviously I went in with my head, point crime is going to be cozy crime, whereas to me, point horror is can be more like wild and outlandish kind of thing. Like if you think of The Claw, for
Yeah,
example, that we read for point horror, that's just like completely off the scale crazy with
bonkers.
a few, murders. So I felt like it wasn't going to be as bonkers as a point horror, but I feel like they were darker and they were more detailed in the writing than some of the point horrors.
Yeah,
Like some of the point horrors are quite simplistic writing, whereas this felt more complex, I thought, and
felt
more.
dense, didn't it, compared to point
Yeah,
horror? Like
yeah,
more to it.
The big difference from me was that in point horror, everybody feels like they're going to be the next victim. Whereas in
yeah,
this one, I felt like they were trying to find out who the murderer was.
yeah. So
Yeah,
That
it
was
was
the big
more
difference for
investigation.
me. Not
Yeah.
that I've read, and you all both read far more point horror than I have, but that's the big
I
difference I
agree.
see. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
felt like this was
Yeah,
a who done it,
yeah,
and a point horror is who's going to die next.
yeah.
So
yeah.
that was
No,
that's
that's
Yeah,
how.
true.
But
that makes
what
Yeah.
I
sense.
did love was, when she damaged the dress, the prom dress. That
Oh,
reminded me of the
yeah.
prom queen last year
Yeah.
when they'd ruined all the dresses. And I thought, I wonder
Yeah.
if that's a little like connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought that was really quite sweet. Yeah.
Because even when we read Prom Queen last year, that was the ending of that was set up in the rafters
Yeah.
as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little nod there.
I wonder if it
I like
was.
that.
Yeah.
Speedway Chick said, "Oh, Speedway Chick said, wouldn't we just say cord?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the instead of
Yes.
the thong. Yeah."
Yeah, yeah.
Matthew said there wasn't enough murder in this one for me. It could
Yeah.
have.
I'm with
It
you
could
with
have.
that, Matthew.
Yeah, I agree.
It could have done with at least one more murder. Hopefully, of somebody we could have actually cared about. Yeah, that's true.
True.
Yeah,
That's
could
true.
have just done with an extra one. Maybe the policeman.
Jelly!
But then we would have cared, right?
We
We
would
would have been
have
like,
cared, yeah.
now we need to know who found it because how dare they kill him off? Teddy said the perfume element / ghost element wasn't needed.
No.
It may have been if it was a point horror,
Yeah.
but not for a point crime. Isn't it weird how we've got this clear distinction between the
Yeah.
point horror and point crime now? I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. Teddy said, overall, I didn't think point crime was any different really to point horror. I suppose there was more of a whodunit element.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And
Absolutely.
Matthew said it was certainly more dense, and I felt like it was about 50 pages too long or too short. I can't decide. I think it was 50 pages too long.
Me too.
There was some bits they could have cut out.
Yeah.
I think, definitely.
Did you notice the swear word in there, which I was surprised by? Because I think the
No.
Americans wouldn't let that fly. Did you see it?
Oh, no.
It was cock up.
Oh,
cockle.
Yeah.
That would be a swear word to me, so I didn't even register it.
Yeah, I think that's why I
This is why I've read so much point horror, as Sharron says, that word would never be in,
yeah,
Yeah.
especially not in America. They're really strict. They're strict. The teen stuff is strict in America, so I was like, oh, the Brits let that fly. As you say,
must be in our daily vocabulary, Sharron. So,
I say it all the time.
so,
Do you know
we
what I
didn't
mean?
notice that
It's
one.
normal language to me, that is.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So
Oh,
I
good
wouldn't even
spot, Emma.
register.
That's a really good spot. That is, because as you say, you wouldn't get that in a point horror. I can't think of a point horror where there was like a swear word or anything like that. To be honest, off the top of my head.
no, definitely not.
So one last quick question then. So the whole ending, for me, it improved the rating that I'd give the book. The ending did, because I thought the ending was like super cool. So you obviously got the whole theatre setting, you got the tap tap tapping, and you know, this figure running. But Beth does like she like gives herself a good talking to, and she's like, right, come on, we've got to do this. I can't be scared. I need to find out what's going on. So did you like the whole ending and the whole down the trapdoor thing? I knew that trapdoor was going to come into play somewhere. Emma, what did you think?
I thought it was very reminiscent of like a Scream ending when they talk to the killer about what they've done. I was thinking, why is Beth going, like she's dragging her up the steps, and I'm like, Beth's going to herself, oh no, she's really mad, I've got to save my breath so, you know, I can try and talk her out of killing me. I would have been like, where's a weapon? Where can I run? You know, what can I hit her with? How can I get out of this? But she was just very, exactly. Hook her legs, get her, you know. And she was just like, I've got to talk. And the whole thing, when she was unfolding the whole thing, and Beth was feeling really sorry for her, I was like, Beth just killed someone, darling. She tried to kill you. She tried to drop a light on you. So, I thought I did enjoy it, but I thought, oh my God, this girl. And then Toby comes in, and I'm like, I knew it. I knew he was coming through the door, and I was like, no. And then he says to her something about Cheryl. There'll be, you know, Cheryl's will come and go. And I was like, did he just say bros before hoes? Because that's disgusting. I'm sorry, like, what did you just say? So, but I did.
I'm going to have a little look what he said now. He does say something about Cheryl, doesn't he? He's like,
she'll come and go. Cheryl's, what was it?
Cheryl's will come and Cheryl's will go, but he paused and held her gently by the shoulders, are friends. The real thing.
He did say that then. That's what he said. So
then,
but I did
Beth goes, friends? Beth sighed happily. That's all right then.
Yay, I'm going out with the copper.
I'm going in a panda car in a minute.
Yay, out for a coffee.
Oh dear. Speedway Chick said Toby was all over the place.
Bless him.
He really was. I didn't like him, to be honest.
No. I did feel sorry for him because he lost his mum, and I thought maybe that's why he's a bit rubbish. His dad's not around and he's lost his mum. That's all I could. But then I thought Sam has lost both his parents, and he's got nothing. He's much nicer.
Sam. Oh dear. Did you like the ending, Sharron? That whole dramatic light dropping down the trapdoor,
down the hatch.
Oh, brilliant!
I did like the ending, but I would have preferred Toby not to have come in and for saved herself. That would be the first thing. But also, I was a bit disappointed that when Paula fell through the trapdoor, she didn't fall on the horns and die. Right? Because I thought that should have been the ending. She should, you know, on the horns that the Bella died on. That would have been better for me. But I did enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? And I love the way, you know, little PC Daniels come and led her away. You know, and she sits in the panda car and goes, I'm safe now. But I did like the ending. I thought it was very dramatic. It was very kind of visually dramatic. And I quite like that. But I'm with Emma. I think she should have put up a bit of a fight, because I would have. And then when she starts feeling sorry for her, when she's telling her she's killed someone, she starts feeling sorry for her. And you're just like, come on, Beth, get over yourself.
No, I agree. Like, and I love the fact that, like, they could have gone there and made her dead, and Paula dead when she was in that in the trapdoor. But no, we had to get a line that, oh no, I think someone says, "Is she dead?" Oh no, I heard her move or something like.
This
There's no way she was
disappointing, I thought.
moving. There's no way. Why couldn't they just have killed her off? That would have been cool.
It would have been better for her as well, because now she's going to end up in prison with a load of people who
Yeah.
know her husband's a serial killer. She's going to have a hell of a time in prison. She'd have been better off dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
awful, but you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get
This
it.
ruined her life, this has.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought that would
Definitely.
have been such a dramatic ending.
Yeah.
And then you're left wondering, okay, does that mean Toby and Beth are now charged with manslaughter?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
I think
the
that
other
would just been
thing.
such a good ending, where
Because
they were led off in handcuffs rather than going for a coffee.
but then like totally unhinged at the same time as well. Like I would have liked to have seen Paula got out of the trapdoor going, "I'm gonna get you."
Yeah.
Like
Or
Scream
something.
when they come
Yeah,
back.
Last
like
jump
really
scare.
unhinged. Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been cool as well.
And then they have to smack her in the head with something.
Yeah.
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 But see, that's what I thought as well with the end when you mentioned about the manslaughter. So really, you know, the kids did set up this prank, like and they pulled the bucket onto Mr. Lamb. So really, you know, I know they didn't know the weight was in there, but wouldn't they be in trouble for that?
It was Sam,
Yeah.
Like,
wasn't it? It was Sam
That
who
it was
picked
Sam.
the bucket
would be.
Yeah.
and then let the bucket go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I suppose so. I
Yeah.
suppose it's intent, isn't it? It would be unintentional manslaughter, wouldn't it?
Slap on the wrist, I think. Community service, I would
Yeah,
say.
probably. She's the instigator of it, because they didn't intend to kill him. There's no intent to kill. But I'll get my forensics head on now.
Yeah. But as well, when she first falls down the trapdoor as well, I was convinced that she was going to fall on the mattresses, because there was a big thing about make sure the mattresses are under the trapdoor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wait, she's going to they're going to think that she's like down there still while they're sitting there having their friendship talk, and then she's going to come at them like,
bring up like a ninja.
We've watched too many horror films, haven't we?
I know.
We have.
Yeah, I could just imagine it, because I could imagine when she fell, like this, poof of dust, come off all the mattresses or something. That's what I was expecting, but yeah, we didn't get that ending. I still like the ending. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Speed Ray Chick said, "You meddling kids." Yeah. Can you imagine her saying that? Definitely.
We do.
And Matthew said, "A copper with a gay adult film star name, Mark Daniels, screams gay adult film star."
Do you first name?
Wow. Oh dear. Well, you don't know where he was leading her off to, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, on that note, so did you enjoy your venture into Point Crime? Would you read more, Emma?
I did. I liked it. I thought it was a really tidy book. I really liked it.
Yeah, and me too. How about you,
Sharron?
Me
too. I thought it was it's a really easy read. You don't take say an hour and a half, 2 hour reading it.
Yeah,
and it's a complete story, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And I love, if you look at the Point Crimes, what I try and do like a little reel of my Point Crimes, but the taglines are just unhinged on them. They're hilarious.
Like a lamb to the slaughter.
Like a lamb to the slaughter.
Yeah. I was hoping there would be some sheep shenanigans, but there was not.
Excuse me, Emma.
Was Mr. Lamb into sheep? We don't know. Were the posters of sheep? We don't know. On that note.
Funny enough, when Emma picked this one, I was like, oh, we'll have to do it around Easter, like dead lamb. And then I was thinking, oh, I could put this up, and then I thought, do you know what, I better not put that in my post, oh, ha ha, an Easter treat, dead sheep. And then so I quickly went off that one, but that's essentially why I picked to do it in April.
But that's unlike Point Horror, at least the actual cover art was in the book.
Yeah.
But,
there was quite a few references to masks as well throughout the book, and people's masks slipping and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, I like that. That's like,
Yeah.
There was a bit. This is the bit I really liked. Each of her friends had suddenly grown two faces: the face she'd always known and felt safe with, and another face, only dimly seen, that peered out of the darkness at her, threatening and strange. And I thought that was a really good quote. I thought that was a really, because that's
and
true, isn't it? You know,
yeah,
we only see, we all put masks on to a certain degree because we do.
Yeah.
Mainly because, you know, my real life is boring. But
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? I thought that was a
Yeah.
really excellent, very perceptive of Beth.
And
You know,
only when you're
actually.
put under pressure does the mask slip off and the true person is revealed.
Come out.
Yeah, I've seen that happen
That's
before,
so-
like in a disaster or in an, you see who's the helper, who's the hero, and who is not. None of those things at all.
No,
So
exactly.
it's interesting.
I thought that was very perceptive. That I underlined that. I don't tend to mark in books, but I underline that.
I tend to take like pictures of quotes and stuff, and I did take a picture of that quote because I just thought as well it was just so fitting with the masks. Like, because normally when you see these animated, they're coming from behind each other as well, and I was just like, oh, that's chef's kiss of a quote.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Very. I've never read this author before, and I was really quite impressed.
Yeah.
She did two other point crimes as well, so I am definitely intrigued to read more of them. So we'll have to do another one definitely and see what we think of that. Matthew said I'd give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Same, that's what I would as well if it had been 50 pages shorter.
Fair.
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of things that they could have.
It was 3.5 to me. I rounded up to 4 on Goodreads just because I'm a generous reviewer.
I rounded to 4.
3.5.
So, it's amazing how we're all on the same page with that as well. So,
but it was fun.
That's brilliant.
It was great fun.
I had a good time with it, and that's all we can ask for sometimes. Just like a couple of hours, escapism, good time. Fun characters, even though there was 22. So Kenny said there's a point crime miniseries called The Beat, which probably is more procedural. I can't say that. Procedural. And another called Lawless and Tilly. Yeah, I think I've read a couple of the Lawless and Tilly, and they're quite
sounds
good.
like a person and their dog, doesn't it? Lawless and Tilly.
Yeah. I'm sure I've read a couple of those when I was younger. I can picture the covers actually, so I must have read those.
I mean, these are all new to me because, you know, I was far too old to read them when they came in the 90s, so it's all fun for me.
Oh. Well, thank you for suggesting it, Emma. I'm so glad that you did, and I'm so glad that you both had fun and everyone in the comments enjoyed it as well. And we'll definitely do some more of these. I'll see what I can figure out when we can fit another one.
Policeman helmets on next time, right? Some kind of
idea. My God.
Yeah. You do love a prop, don't you, Emma? You could
I love
with a big police baton.
Oh,
Sherlock Holmes.
And then I can tell you about my story about a truncheon. That's for another day.
Jenny, you can't do that. Dun, dun, dun.
It was very traumatizing. But anyway, on that note.
Gosh. Now I'm going to be thinking about that all the time now.
Oh, honestly, you'll laugh when you hear. I'll leave that till next time. But anyway, thanks, guys, and thanks to everyone in the comments as well. Thanks everyone with us. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.